Creep in, my Halloween horrors of Second Life. I'm Felix Lubezki, your vault keeper from the crypts. I've been eagerly awaiting your arrival, for after much scrounging around in the deepest recesses of the vault, I discovered an ancient, crumbling volume which contained a classic tale. I'm certain you will enjoy this one, so settle your skeleton and prepare for a truly morbid and ironic story entitled Easel Kill Ya. The miserable wretch wandered aimlessly through silent, foggy streets. Hissing raindrops pelting his uncovered head ran down his face, mingling with tears. Towering street lamps formed a shadow into grotesque shapes on solemn buildings, painlessly elongated it to explore along the wet, shimmering pavement in the darkness. Rainwater gurgled angrily in the gutter, reached out, caught, and carried everything it could with it into the sewer's depths. The miserable wretch shuffled on, and once an agonized sob erupted from his lips to be snatched away by the wind. His footsteps carried him out onto the bridge. He gripped the rail with trembling, whitened knuckles, stared unseeing into the black of vicious whisperings in the rain. He stood there for long minutes, thinking a million thoughts, seeing a million visions, recalling a million memories. But I'm only 29. Most people are just beginning to live at 29. Why am I trying to end it? Suicide? Is that the real solution? Why have they driven me to this? A sparkling bubble of female laughter in a passing taxi gone in an instant. He whirled at the sound. Go ahead, laugh at me. Everyone laughs at me. Why can't someone understand how I feel? He stumbled into the roadway on watery legs. I'm an artist. I paint pictures. Why do you all hate me? Why can't you give me a chance? Why? He crumpled to his knees in the middle of the road, fists raised, shaking in defiance. I hate you! I want you to suffer as I have. I want you to feel the pain I felt. I want you to know the hunger, the loneliness. He was only dimly aware of the motor's roar behind him, only half heard the complaining squeals of tires skidding on slippery pavement. But he clearly saw the car bullet past him, spin out of control, flip over. He saw the body thrown in the air, heard it strike the ground, memorized the sound. He listened to the cacophony of grinding metal and shattering glass, felt the jarring impact as the auto slammed against the concrete barrier. A woman tumbled from the accordion machine, platinum hair now tinted red, flesh once powder white, now wine-colored. Delicate, jeweled fingers clutched her face, changed color with the streaming blood that stained her clothes, dripping to the ground and fused, dissolved with the frolicking gutter water. She teetered drunkenly and fell. He ran, laughing, from the scene. It was good to know that others could feel pain, could suffer, and die. It filled him with a deep satisfaction. He was overjoyed, elated, inspired. Babbling to himself, he climbed the rickety stairs to his room where he painted furiously, entranced through the remainder of the night. The cold, bleak light of the morning found the artist sitting dumbly on his cot, staring with reddened eyes at the finished painting. It's good. The best I've ever done. But the subject is so despicable. I know of only one person who'd even look at such a picture and like it. Sometime later, the artist spoke excitedly with a small, lecherous old man with whose gimlet eyes ravaged the painting. Then, you like it? You'll buy it? It's magnificent! Heh! Profoundly filthy, yet magnificent. I'll give you $100 for it. $100 is a lot of money to a pauper, but with rent to pay, clothes and paints to buy, and an empty belly to be filled, it doesn't last long. Money's almost gone. Oh hum. Guess I'd better knock off another sadistic painting for the old man. Brushes in hand, he stood before the easel, straining for an idea. The greater part of a day went by, and still his canvas was blank. It's no use. I thought I'd be able to turn out another picture with ease, but I can't. I'm a fool of myself. He slumped to his cot, let the brushes slip from his fingers and clattered to the floor. He fought to hold back the tears of rage and resentment that welled within him. For a while I thought I was being recognized as an artist, as a person, a human being. It was wrong. One old man likes my work. One old man with a diseased mind likes the sinful, wicked picture inspired by the blood and pain I saw in that auto accident. And the rest of the world shuns me. But wait, they'd feel differently if I were a success. If I had money, they wouldn't turn from me. They'd look up to me, smile at me. They'd want to talk to me, not run from my sight. and they gather around me in thrills just to touch my hand. They growl at my feet and plead with me to cast them a glance, a word. All of this if I had money. A black realization illuminated his face. Money? I can get money from the old man. He'll buy paintings from me if they're like the other one. If I have to watch their blood spill and see their agony to get inspiration, all the better. I like to see other people's pain. The evening fog closed in around the hunched figure standing on the bridge. All evidence of the previous accident had long since been removed, but the artist waited for hours, hoping, praying that another accident would somehow miraculously occur. He looked at the detour signs with their red lanterns used to reroute traffic while the smashed auto had been cleared away. He looked at them standing, idly, innocently, on the walk, and the hours slipped by. It was almost midnight when, in despair, he left the bridge to prowl the streets. Somewhere in the city there must be anguish and bloodshed. But why did they hide it from him? Why did they frustrate and torment him so? He must find inspiration. At 3 a.m. he began trudging out on the bridge. The city had successfully hid its sins from him thus far, but he was not to be put off. He lifted the detour signs and set them in the road, angling them towards the barrier. He had to wait but a short while before he heard the humming of tires on moist pavement drawing rapidly near. The car rocketed out of the fog and with a screeching of brakes swerved to avoid the signs. He laughed diabolically as he careened and crashed into the wall. He raced to the wreckage and peered inside, laughing as he saw the broken bodies, flowing blood. He rejoiced in the moans and screams, dancing merrily and clapping his hands and laughing till his head spun in a whirlpool of sublime inspiration. Morning, exhaustion, finished painting. The old man cackled and giving him money. Delirium. Positively fantastic. Such a sadistic lust. You must paint more of these women. I'll pay you well. Night, the fog-shrouded bridge, confused, hateful emotions, and the impatience of waiting. The decision to wait no longer for an accident. The sheer thrill of viciously beating a passerby. His room, the straw cot, feeling again the warm blood, hearing again the terrified cries, reliving the entire experience. But painting, nothing. Not caring to paint, just reveling in the glorious satisfaction. Morning again, a blank canvas and a realization. Oh God, I must be insane. Was my mind so twisted that I caused blood to flow merely for the thrill I derived from its sight? Am I so envious of the world that I rejoice in my suffering? When it inspired a painting, there was purpose. But now my depravity has reached its lowest depths. I've got to stop this madness. For days he remained in his shabby room, trying to forget the satisfaction he received from punishing the world as the world had so often punished him. He faced the small floor, animal-like, smoked endless chains of cigarettes, drank himself into a stupor, and still he felt the need for release. Still he heard the old man's pleas for more pictures, felt the old man's money, dreamed of the things he could buy. At the height of his struggle, when his strength and determination were almost at the breaking point, and he was discouraged and miserable beyond words, there was a knock on the door. He opened it, and there she was, smiling and beautiful, filling every corner of his barren room with a warm brilliance. It staggered him. Hello. She had just moved in upstairs and needed his aid to complete some small task. He accepted gladly, and while he helped her, he listened to her tender voice, reveled in her melodious laugh, her radiant loveliness. Eyes unbelieving, he marveled at this wondrous creature who lessened his tensions, dispelled his hates, his fears, and for the first time in ages, he heard himself laugh. That night he slept the sleep of the innocent and dreamed the dreams of the peaceful. In the days that followed, he realized she liked his company and wanted to be with him. He painted her often. He painted other things also, pleasant, soothing pictures. But though he laughed quite easily now, there dwelt within him the guilt and shame of his past. He longed to tell her of these things, to cleanse himself as she was clean. So he confessed the horrible emotions, the vile deeds that once consumed his soul, blackened his heart, and cost him, despite the goodness in life. She listened. I was so confused. I started out loving life, but with each failure, I became embittered. I felt the world was deliberately trying to frustrate and wound me, so I fought back. It isn't easy to think clearly when you're all alone. When you're down and out and everyone seems against you, it's only natural to fight back, even if your methods are perverted. But your mind has become so mixed up that any way out seems alright. Perhaps it's merely that because a man has so many emotions inside him, anything that ignites him will cause him to explode. The more emotions there are inside and the longer they've been confined, the greater the explosion. And if they can't find escape in the right direction, they're bound to backfire. Jealousy, for instance, and love are very closely related to each other. Only a fine line separates them. Jealousy is a form of hate, but actually it's only love, inverted. I guess that's been my problem. I've had so much love within me that the world shunned me and refused to accept it. I turned the love inside out and it became hate. I realize these things now, but only because you came to give me the release I so sorely need. I'm like a rubber band that's been stretched almost to the breaking point, and at last find the release that allows it to snap back to normal. I need you. Not just love you and want you, I need you urgently. Without you, I know I'll just revert to my former self and I'll be lost forever with you. I know I'll find the strength I so desperately need as I have found happiness by being with you. There was a silence. Then tenderly she cupped his face in her hands and said the words that all his life it seemed he had been waiting to hear. I love you, and I want to be your wife. Early the next morning, the artist waited for the girl. Today they were going to get their marriage license, but several hours went by and she didn't arrive. And with each passing minute, it became more discouraged. By mid-afternoon, he was at his wit's end. He stormed about his room in frenzy. She stalked me. I told her the truth about myself and frightened her away. Oh God, what am I going to do without her? What am I to do? Late evening, the frustrated, torturous sobbing, the urge stirring in his breast, growing much stronger to hurt someone, the telegram from the hospital. She's been injured, condition critical. Calling for me? Calling for me! A mad race to the streets, streaking his face, her name trailing behind him on the raindrops, and then whiteness. Whiteness everywhere, walls, rooms, clothing, and then the doctor. Brought her in last night, hit-and-run victim. She came out of her coma long enough to give us her name and address, but I'm afraid there's very little hope, for her condition is extremely serious. How serious? How serious? Can't something be done? Anything? Only a delicate and dangerous brain operation could save her, but there's only one skillful enough to do it, and he wants $3,000 for the job. Obviously, you can't. $3,000? Might as well be $1 million. But he could get it. There was one way to get it. The painting for the old man. The artist went instinctively to the bridge. The long waiting, and then the clicking of heels, the figure disembodying itself from the mist and rain, fusing into the solidity. Struggle, the hacking and bloodying, the snapping of the neck, the thrilling, gloating, dizzying reel of satisfaction. His room. The hectic wielding of brushes on canvas, lasting till late the next afternoon. The old man's refusal to pay the steep price, the quarrel and the fight, the taking of the money by force. The headlong dash back to the hospital through darkening streets, bubbling with the happy knowledge that at last he had defeated the world. A final attempt to ruin him had failed, but didn't he have the money? Joyfully he rushed in. See, doctor? All the money. You can save her now. Can't you? You can save her for me? The pained look in the doctor's eyes, the nurse lowering her head, turning her back. I'm afraid I have bad news for you. You see, the one man who can perform the operation was brutally murdered last night while crossing a bridge on his way to the hospital. It must have been the work of a maniac. Neck broken, hacked to pieces, horrible. Miserable wretch sat held on the bench in the dark corridor, littering the floor around his feet with a green confusion, useless and forgotten. He sat there, tears streaming down his cheeks, tiny, pitiful sobs racking his body. He sat there, staring blankly at the wall, listening to the clock overhead relentlessly tick away the seconds. And then she would be dead. Care for a game of bridge, anyone? You'd be the dummy. By doing those paintings, the artist gave his girl the brush off. All I know is nobody dare go walking on that bridge late at night. Yeah. Well, I see the crypt keeper's chomping at the bit, so I'll leave before he starts chomping me. He's got a peachy story for you, so until next time, drop dead. And now it's your crypt keeper turn to curdle your blood. Crawl in the crypt, tear crumbs, plop down on that tree stump there. Help yourself to some fruit, and while you're munching, I'll narrate the nauseating novelette I call A Peach of a Plot. It's her, all right, Lieutenant. What's left of her? That is, after 7 years, it ain't much. Skull's shattered. Looks like he bludgeoned her to death. Okay, boys, get her down for a complete autopsy. Careful of that tree now. That goes too. Michael Lane turned away, fighting the nausea that swept over him. Beside him, Lieutenant Phil Dolan, homicide, stared at the corpse lying amid the twisting, tangling roots of the young peach tree. He stared at the holes where eyes once shined, at the mouth that was once so kissable, at the clawing flesh of the once lovely neck, and the tree trunk erupting from the rotted chest. I always knew you murdered her, Lane. I always knew it. I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for... The detective interrupted him. If it wasn't for Peaches, eh, Lane? You would have gotten away with murder if it weren't for Peaches. It's crazy. A thing like this can't happen. Ah, but it did, Lane, and you'll burn 'cause it happened. You planned on murdering Sarah, didn't you? You planned it from the very beginning. Care to tell me the whole thing now? I have nothing to say. Then I'll tell you, Lane. 7 years is a long time. Long enough to do searching and asking, looking for pieces to a picture puzzle, and laying each piece in, where it fits. Tonight, I found the final pieces to the puzzle. Tonight, the picture is complete, so I'll tell you. You met Sarah Brandon at a cocktail party in 1945. She was rich and lovely, and you wanted money. You started working on her until finally, oh, Mike, darling, we'll be so happy. We'll live at my country place and... No, wait a minute. Sarah, dear, I intend to support you. After all, I want to marry you because I love you, not because of your money. She believed you, didn't she, Lane? She really believed that you loved her and not her money. So you were married, but after the honeymoon you did come out here to live, to Sarah's country home. Only till I get located, honey. I'm a little flat now. I understand, Mike. And then you waited until people began to talk. There goes that Michael Lane in his wife's flashy car. Married her for her money, that's what he did. You'd think a man would have a little pride and try to earn his own money. But not you, Lane. You had plans, big plans, and you wanted people to talk like that. You didn't even try to get a job to earn your own keep. But Sarah didn't care. She loved you too much. She didn't mind you living off her income. And you don't mind what people are saying? Of course I don't mind, darling. I don't mind if you never go to work. I like being near me all day long. It was frustrating, wasn't it, Lane? You wanted Sarah to mind. It was part of the scheme. You even began taking advantage, trying to antagonize her. Well, Mike, you can use my car whenever you want to. Why do we need two? I want my own, Sarah. I don't want to have to ask you all the time. And finally she broke down. Finally she blew up, and though you tried to act hurt, secretly you were glad. A new car, your own apartment in town, more clothes than you could possibly need. Is it true, Mike? Is it true what they're all saying? Sarah! So you pressed the argument. It is true, isn't it? That's all you married me for, my money. So what? It's a fair trade. We each have what we wanted. Created quite a scene. You never wanted me. You never loved me. The dough, baby. I love the dough. And the servants heard it all, just what you wanted. Then it's no use going on like this. There's the door. You had timed it perfectly, eh, Lane? The servants had gone for the day by the time Sarah had finished packing. I'm leaving, Mike. I'm going to get a divorce. You're a little fool, Sarah. How could you believe that of me? It was what she wanted to hear, wasn't it, Lane? Suddenly she was in your arms, and you were holding her quivering body and hating her and saying the things you had to say. Oh, Mike, tell me it isn't true. Of course it isn't true, darling. I married you because I loved you. You'll see. I'll make it up. Tomorrow, I'll look for a job. Really. That last night was fun, wasn't it, Lane? Making love to her and waiting to catch her off guard. I'm so ashamed, Mike. I'm sorry about those things I said. I'm the one that's sorry, honey. And then you found your opportunity. Remember, Lane? She was sitting in the living room munching on some fruit. The blinds were drawn. It was late at night. Hungry, Sarah? A little. Remember the peach, Lane? She had a mouthful when he struck her with a poker. Remember the gurgling sound that she made, and the peach juice dribbling out of her mouth, and her eyes bulging and her face turning blue as you beat her to death? Remember, Lane? Remember how you carried her limp body out of the house and buried it out in the back garden? Then you burned her suitcase, the one she packed, in the fireplace, and cleaned up. Remember how you scooped up the half-chewed mouthful of peach from the rug where it had fallen from her lips and threw it away together with the uneaten half of the peach? Lieutenant Dillon pointed at the rotted corpse of the tree trunks twining around it and the trunk growing from its chest. You didn't notice that the peach pit was missing, did you, Lane? You didn't know that Sarah had swallowed it as you strangled her. You called us the next day. You reported your wife was missing, and I came over. Some of her clothes are gone, Lieutenant Dolan. Do you think she left me? Did you and your wife get along, Mr. Lane? Any arguments? Well, yes, we did have an argument last night. She accused me of marrying her for her money. I see. Well, we'll try to trace her, Mr. Lane. Don't worry. I'm sure she's alright. That was when I got suspicious, Lane. When a wife walks out on her husband, she's usually easy to trace. A train reservation, plane ticket, something. Your wife just seems to have disappeared, Mr. Lane. Something's happened to her. I know it. Oh, Lord, she's committed suicide. People who plan on suicide don't pack bags, Lane. I started asking questions. The servants. Yes, they argued that night. She threatened to leave. He admitted he didn't love her. It was her money. I see. Well, thanks. Remember how I came to you? I think you murdered her, Lane. If it's the last thing I do, I'll prove it. You're crazy, Dolan. I'd like to see you try. You got a little worried, didn't you, Lane? You decided to take a little trip where things were getting too hot for you. I just thought I'd let you know I have to go to Europe on business. If you find my wife, get in touch with me, won't you? Sure, Mr. Lane, sure. You stayed away, didn't you, Lane? You stayed away for 7 years. You figured you'd come back and your wife would be legally dead and her fortune would be yours. But I didn't give up, Lane. I kept plugging. Perhaps he buried her out here in the garden. It's so overgrown now. I couldn't know where to begin. I'd have to dig the whole place up. You let your country place go to ruin. You didn't want anybody to tend the garden, digging around. So no one noticed the green shoot pop through the ground over Sarah's grave. I know he murdered her. I know it. If I could only find out what he did with the body. I only knew where to look. The years passed and the green shoot became a stalk, then a young tree, growing stronger with each passing summer. Till last week, it bore fruit, a peach. I heard you were coming home to claim Sarah's fortune. Today, when you arrived, it was waiting. Well, Lieutenant Dolan, welcome home. Welcome me home, I see. Never found my wife, eh? Too bad. No, Lane, you were too clever. I still say you murdered her, but I can't prove it. You were triumphant, weren't you, Lane? You invited me in. You gloated. Then you spotted the tree. You know, Dolan, 7 years, her fortune is mine. Now what is it, Lane? What do you see? You tried to cover up your shock at seeing a peach tree growing out of Sarah's grave. You made a feeble explanation. It's just that the garden is so neglected. Yes, it is a shame. Is that a young peach tree, Lane? You're pretty good at composing yourself, Lane. I like the way you strode over the tree, smiling. Well, so it is. I'd almost forgotten that you'd planted it. Look, it's borne fruit. I didn't know you liked peaches, Lane. I know your wife did. How happily you plucked a peach from its limb. Me? I love peaches. And sank your teeth into its pulpy, succulent meat. And how the sickly red liquid splattered out all over your face and your mouth, gagging you with salty richness, covering your shirt with a crimson smear. Good Lord! Blood! They were lifting the foul-smelling, decaying corpse and carrying it off. Michael retched, looking down at his blood-soaked shirt. Lieutenant Dolan smiled. Yes, Lane, it was blood. Human blood. So I knew where to look. I knew then that's where Sarah was buried. Things like this don't happen. Heh, now, wasn't that a juicy piece of a yarn, kiddies? Of course, it was a bloody shame that Mike pit it off more than he could chew. By the way, I've taken some cuttings from the tree growing from Sarah's chest. I'm going to the nursery business, landscaping, vampire gardens. Now I'll turn you back to the vault. Bye. Here's my adaptation of Bradbury's The Lake. It was September in the late days when things are getting sad for no reason. The beach was long and lonely, all the hot dog stands were boarded up with strips of golden planking, sealing in the mustard, onion, meat odors of the long, joyful summer. It was like nailing summer into a series of coffins. The wind had come and touched the sand, blowing away all the millions of footprints in July and August. I was alone. I called her name a dozen times. I called. Tally! Tally! Oh, Tally! Everyone else was in school. I was not. Tomorrow I'd be on my way west on a train. I had come to the beach for one last brief moment. I went down to the water and let it cool up to my stomach. Always before, with the crowd, I hadn't dared look to come to the spot and search around in the water and call her name. But now, Tally, come back to me. Tally! Honey, but you really expect answers to your calling when you were young. You feel that whatever you may think can be real, and sometimes that is not so wrong. I thought of Tally swimming out in the water last May. Tally, with her pigtails trailing blonde, she was laughing, and the sun was on her small 12-year-old shoulders. I thought of the water settling quiet, and the lifeguard leaping into it, of Tally's mother screaming, "My baby!" Tally never came out. The lifeguard tried to persuade her to come out, but she did not. He came back with only bits of water weed in his big-knuckled fingers. Tally was gone. She would not sit across from me at school any longer, or chase indoor balls on the brick streets of summer nights. She had gone out too far, and the lake would not let her return. And now, in the lonely autumn, when the sky was huge, and the water was huge, and the beach was so very long, I had come down for the last time, alone. Tally, come back, Tally. I was only 12, but I know how much I loved her. It was that love that comes before all significance of body and morals. It was love that was made of warm, long days together at the beach. It was made of the humming, quiet days of the learning education at school, and all the long autumn days of the years past when I had carried the books home from school. I called her name for the last time. I shivered. I felt water on my face, and I did not know how it got there. The waves had not splashed that high. Tally. Turning, I retreated to the sand and stood there for half an hour, hoping for one glimpse, one sign, one little bit of Tally to remember. Then I knelt and built the sand castle, shaping it fine, building it as Tally and I had often built so many of them. But this time, I only built half the sand castle. Then I got up. Tally, if you hear me, come in and build the rest. After a while, the water came in, blending the sandcastle, mashing it down little by little into the original smoothness. Silently, I walked along the shore. Far away, a merry-go-round jingled, faintly, but it was only the wind. The next day, I went away on the train. A train has poor memory. It soon put all behind it. It forgets the cornlands and rivers of childhood, the bridges, the lakes, the valleys, the cottages, the hurts and the joys. It spread them out behind and then dropped back over the horizon. I lengthened my bones, put flesh on them, changed my young mind for an older one, threw away clothes as they no longer fitted, shifted from grammar to high school, to college books, to law books. And then there was a young woman, Margaret, in Sacramento. I knew her for a time, and we were married. And we came back to Lake Bluff for our honeymoon, like a memory. A train works both ways. A train can bring rushing back all those things we left behind so many years before. Lake Bluff, population 10,000, came up over the sky. Margaret looked so handsome in her fine new clothes. She watched me as I felt my old world gather me back into its living. She held my arms as the train slid into Bluff Station, and our baggage was escorted out. We stayed on 2 weeks in all. We were visiting all the places together. The days were happy. I thought I loved Margaret well. At least, I thought I did. It was one of the last days that we walked down by the shore. I had that feeling again of wanting to be alone, but I could not force myself to speak of this to Margaret. It was late in the day. The beach was almost deserted. The lifeguard boat pulled up on the shore. The lifeguard stepped out of it slowly with something in his arms. I froze there. I held my breath, and I felt small. Only 12 years old, very little, very infinitesimal, and afraid. "Stay here, Margaret." But why? The wind howled. I could not see Margaret. I could see only the beach, the lifeguard slowly emerging from the boat with a gray sack in his hands, not very heavy, and his face almost as gray and wan. Just stay here, that's all. I walked slowly down the sand to where the lifeguard stood. He looked at me. What is it? The lifeguard kept looking at me for a long time, and he couldn't speak. He put the gray sack down on the sand, and the water whispered wet up around it and went back. What is it? She's dead. I waited. Funniest thing I ever saw. She'd been dead a long time. A long time. He nodded. 10 years, I'd say. There haven't been any children drowned here this year. There were 12 children drowned here since 1942, but we recovered all of them before a few hours had passed. All except one. I remember. This body here. Why, it must be 10 years in the water. I stared at the sack. The wind was loud. Open it. The way I know it's a little girl is because she's still wearing a locket. There's nothing much else to tell by it. Hurry, man! Open it! I better not. It's not very pleasant. Then perhaps he saw the way my face must have looked. He fumbled with the sack, opening it only part way. It was enough. There was only the sky and the wind and the water and autumn coming in on lonely. I looked down at her there. Tally. Found her down the beach that way in the shallow water. A long time for her, ain't it? Yes, it is. Oh God, yes it is. I thought, people grow. They are grown, but she has not changed. She is still small. Death does not permit growth or change. She still has golden hair. She will be forever young, and I will love her forever. Oh God, I will love her forever. Lifeguard tied at the sack. I walked by myself down the beach, down towards where he found her. There at the water's edge lay a sandcastle, only half built. Just like Tally and I used to build them. She half, and I half. I looked at it and knelt beside it, and I saw little prints of feet coming in from the lake and going back out to the lake again, and not ever returning. And then I knew. I'll help you finish it, Tally. I did. I built the rest of it up very slowly, then I rose. Then turned away and walked off so as not to watch it crumble in the waves the way all things crumble. I walked back up to the beach where a strange woman named Margaret waited for me, smiling.
Hey, now it's wind-up time in BK's Mag, and so as not to disappoint any of the hungry ghouls who still haven't satisfied your appetite for horror, your host is in the haunt of fear the old witch will now sling slide. This disgusting delving into delirium is a favorite cauldron concoction of mine, guaranteed to kill any craving you might have. I call this putrid portrait of prose one good turn.
The last 4 months had been wonderful. Months for Jennifer. Things had changed. Eagerly she would rush home each night to tell Edwin, her husband, of her latest exploit, and Edwin would lie there listening to Jennifer while she described her recent accomplishment. Poor dear Edwin, bedridden Edwin, paralyzed for the last 8 years. Yes, things had changed for Edwin and Jennifer. Things were different now. It's Jennifer, Edwin dear, I'm home. Jennifer stood in the hallway, shivering from the bleak winter cold that gripped the outside world in its icy fist. Carefully she removed her threadbare coat and hung it in the closet. Oh, I've had such a wonderful day, Edwin dear. Wait till I tell you. Jennifer called down the hall to the bedroom door. She opened it a crack and peered in. Edwin lay silent in a huge antique little bed. Just let me fix myself some tea, my darling. Then I'll come to bed and tell you all about it. The teapot stood in its usual place on the old stove. Jennifer lit the gas and put out a cup and saucer, humming softly. She raised her voice so Edwin could hear her. Making people happy can give one such feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction, Edwin. She sat demurely at the spotless table, sipping warm brew. Oh, Edwin, I'm so glad I found that people need me. It's so nice to know that you're needed. It's so nice to know you can do things for people. Jenny drained the teacup dry and washed it in the sink and put it away. Then she refilled the pot and put it back on the stove. I'll be with you in a minute, darling, as soon as I wash that and get into my gown. The water splashed loudly in the sink. Janny sang softly as she washed and wiped and combed and creamed and did all the things that women do in preparation for bed. There, now I'm ready. I wasn't too long, was I, Edwin? I hurried as fast as I could, dear Edwin. Isn't it awful being left alone all day? She was beside him now, between cool sheets, snuggling up to him, stroking his hair, kissing him. It was so wonderful today, Edwin. I met him near the river. He lived in an old shack. You should have seen him, Edwin. He was so unhappy.
He told me all about it. His name was Bertram. I called him Bert. He told me how once upon a time he'd been rich, very rich. Then I lost it all, Jenny. A crash, you know. And I lost my friends too, and my wife. And I was too old to start all over again. Poor Bert, you must be very unhappy. Oh, was Jenny? I was very unhappy. I'd like to make you happy again, Bert. Oh, that's all right, Jenny. It was a long time ago. I've gotten over it. And Jenny, what are you doing with that knife? I'm gonna make you happy again, Bert. No, no, Jenny. My God, I'm happy now. I've gotten used to this. Oh, Jenny, keep away. Be so nice, Bert. You won't be sad anymore. Jenny sighed and smiled. Her eyes filled with tears. She stroked Edwin's cheek. So I stabbed him, my darling. Oh, Edwin, you should have seen his face, so calm, so serene. He lay there on the floor with that knife in his chest, smiling. I made someone happy today, Edwin. Are you proud of me? Remember Grace? Grace was her name, wasn't it? She was crying when I met her. I told you about Grace, Edwin. Remember? Something wrong, my dear. Can I help you? Leave me alone, please. Go away. Come, my dear. Let me take a walk. You'll tell me about it. Really, all I want to be is left alone. And that's the story, Jenny. He walked out on me, left me flat without a dime. And I trusted him, believed in him. You poor dear girl. He made you so wretched. I want to do something for you. What can you do, Jenny? It's my problem. I'll just have to get over it. Jenny, my God. This is what I can do, Grace. I can make you happy again. The rock lying on the deserted path in the park made everything so easy. I brought it down on Grace's skull again and again until she smiled as the blood gurgled from her lips. Now, Grace, now you're happy. And Sidney, poor Sidney, remember me telling you about Sidney, Edwin? Poor boy, he was 7 at the most, crying his eyes out. Poor little tyke. What is it, child? Are you lost? What's the matter, little one? I ran away from home, and now I'm lost. He was so unhappy, Edwin, so sad, and so eager for comfort. When I took him into the alley, he stopped crying. Where are we going, Aunt Jenny? Trust me, Sidney, I'm going to make you happy again. It looks so sweet as I close my fingers around his small white throat, Edwin. All at peace with the world as he slipped from my grasp and fell to the alley pavement, dead. There, my child, there. Now you will never cry again. These last 4 months have been so wonderful for me, Edwin. So wonderful making people happy. Rescuing them from their misery and despair. Buy a pencil? Buy a pencil, help? Blind man, buy a pencil. Oh dear. Would anyone be more wretched, more sad than a blind man, Edwin? I had to help him. I had to. All of them? Oh, bless you, lady, bless you. Now you can stop for the day, you poor dear. Come, give me your hand. 1 minute sadness and misery, the next minute peace and contentment. So easy to lead him into the street, to guide him off the curb, into the path of the truck. I'll take you home. Thank you, lady. You're so kind. Squealing breaks like peals of laughter. The only thing I can regret was not being able to see him happy at last, having to leave the scene. Another soul lifted from the depths of despair to the glorious joy of death. Good Lord, what happened? How can people go through life without a mission, Edwin? I used to think my mission was caring for you, making you comfortable after you became paralyzed. Oh, Edwin, you're in pain. I can tell. Your eyes. But that was before I found my real purpose in life. That was for the old woman on the pier. I sit here day after day and I wait. I know he'll never come home to me, but I wait anyway. You poor thing. Remember her, Edwin? She wore a gold star. She was so sad. He's a wonderful boy, Jenny. A good boy, with his whole life ahead of him. Don't be unhappy, Thelma. I hate to see people unhappy. How she floundered in the water, how she screamed, and how serene and content she looked as she went down for the last time, the murky river pouring into her lungs for her smiling lips. 4 months it's been, Edwin. 4 months since I discovered my mission in life. Remember the day? It was Sunday. You lay in your bed, staring out at the snow falling on the bare dead tree outside our bedroom window. What is it, Edwin? You look so sad today. Why, you're crying. I can see the tears filling your staring eyes. I can see all the sadness and despair overflowing your eyelids and trickling down your cheeks. Don't cry, Edwin. Don't be sad. I can't stand to see you unhappy. I know what, Edwin. I know what. I'll make you your favorite drink. I'll make you a hot chocolate. Wouldn't that be nice? And suddenly on that day 4 months ago I knew how to make you happy. So I went into the kitchen and I made your favorite hot chocolate. I'll be finished soon, Edwin. Jeannie lay beside Edwin in the huge antique bed. She whispered softly, stroking his cheek. When I'm finished making your drink, I'll put the... Oh dear, who can it be at that time of night? Open up in there! The heavy pounding on the front door echoed through the house. Jenny kissed Edwin and slid out of bed. I'll be right back, Edwin. I'll see who it is and be right back. There were two of them, somber-faced men peering out of the darkness at her. Mind if we come in, ma'am? We'd like a word with you. Jenny looked at the shiny badge that was one of them held out to her. She glanced over her shoulder down the hall. Well, all right, you can come in for a minute, but please keep your voices down. My husband's in the bedroom. We just want to ask you a few questions. Jenny closed the door behind them. They looked around, one of them grimaced. Something's wrong here, Steve. Take a look, Phil. Wait, where are you going? The taller one started down the hall toward the bedroom. Stop, you can't go in there. Edwin's in there. You'll disturb him. You'll make him unhappy. Go ahead, Phil. I got her. Yeah. One named Phil turned into the bedroom. Jenny screamed. Stay out of there! Leave him alone! I made him happy 4 months ago. Don't spoil it! Phil came out again, his hand clamped to his mouth. Jenny began to sob. Good Lord, Steve, come here. Come on, man, let's take a look. No, I don't want to look. He won't be happy anymore. One named Steve pushed Jenny to the bedroom. He stared in. Jenny grinned. Oh my God! He's still happy. Oh, thank goodness. I thought you'd spoil it. Edwin lay on the huge antique bed. The flesh of his face was beginning to fall away, revealing the white and grim teeth that the detective noticed with the foul odor of decay that swung from his long dead body. I made him happy 4 months ago when I put cyanide in his hot chocolate. And that's it, peeps. That's my foul fare for this issue. They took poor Jenny away and put her in a padded cell where she can't make anybody happy anymore. But she tries. The keepers have a devil of a time with her, and now it's time to put her out of the fire beneath my cauldron and close the Vault Keeper's mag for this issue. Well, I'll see you next in my mag to haunt the fear. Bye now.
Read aloud! Grab the story on Discord!